Warm greetings to you and welcome to another program, Transforming Lives One at a Time. For those of you who may be now joining us for the very first time, this program deals with social issues, any and everything that affects the human experience. The program is aired every Saturday at 5:30 in the p.m. You can also find us on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, Transforming Lives One at a Time. Well, today we will embark on a two-part series on substance abuse. My guest today is no stranger to this field, as she has been transforming lives in this area for the past 12 years. Please help me welcome my guest, Behavioral Services Officer at the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection, Ms. Shermin Charles. Ms. Charles, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Yes, my dear. Well, Ms. Charles, based on the statistics that we are seeing at present as it relates to substance abuse, it is evident to many of us, if not all of us, that indeed we are in a crisis.
Yes.
So we want to take our time and venture into this topic layer by layer, so even the smallest child would understand exactly what we are talking about when we speak about substance abuse. So my first question, as we lay a proper foundation, is what exactly is substance abuse?
Okay, so I want to actually precursor that with what is substance. So a substance is anything that changes the way your body works. So nobody would have used the term drugs before, but now we're using substance, because we have realized normally when we talk about drugs, they stick to the quote-unquote hard drugs, which will be the marijuana, the cocaine, and so forth. But we want to encompass all substances. So we have alcohol, we have the caffeine, we have the tobacco as well. So when we talk about substance, we include all these drugs, as you would see. All right? And when we're talking about substance abuse, we're talking about the problematic use of a substance, whether it is the amount that is used or the method that it is used, and that's what we call substance abuse. And you know, it brings around a harmful effect, whether it is psychologically, physically, socially, or otherwise. That's what we term substance abuse.
Okay, when we say that a person has an addiction, what does it mean?
So we normally use it interchangeably. But addiction is when you're not able to control your use. So we have persons who have that problematic use, but they're sort of able to control it and know, okay, it's getting out of hand. The negative effects are worse than the so-called positive effects I might be experiencing, and so they're able to limit the use or stop the use. When we talk about addiction, you're not able to control the use. It's sort of like you're dependent on it, for want of a better word. You need to have it no matter how much it's having a negative effect on you. So it's sort of like a compulsive use. You're not able to stop when you need to stop.
Yes. And
even with all these harmful and negative effects. So that's where addiction comes in.
Right. Well, you know, many times we would hear persons say who are using substances that I'm not addicted. You know, I can quit anytime. It's just a vice. It's just cool. I just like hanging with the boys and we just do this for fun. Just weigh in on this.
Everyone always says that. The hardest thing, when we talk about the 12-step program, the first thing you have to do is come to the realization that you have a problem. And that is the hardest thing for persons to do for many reasons. I think most importantly it's because they're seeing some positive effects. They're able to manage their stress better. They're not as angry as they used to be. They're able to calm down. They're able to enjoy a social gathering more because they're using this substance. And because they have this perceived positive effect, they're not going to see anything wrong with what they're doing because it's not really affecting me negatively. I mean, I'm having all these so-called positive effects. Why should I stop? And then everyone always believes that they can control it. I can stop when I want to. They might say, I could get up today and I don't feel like using it, so I can stop. And they think because they're able to stop for one day, or maybe because they're able to limit the use, that they don't have a problem. And I think what persons need to understand is that even before addiction, you can have a problem. Because with the substance abuse, you're still having that harmful effect. And so that is the hardest thing for us to do, for persons to come to realization that, listen, I have a problem. And that is something that, we really, really have to bring them to before they can even start treatments.
Wow. So coming to terms with the reality.
Yes.
Because it seems, and it brings me to the question, is it that as citizens, we are slighting the use of substance abuse and not giving it the kind of urgency that is needed? Or sometimes we just palm it off, well, it's just young people having fun. Is it that we are slighting this?
Yeah, we have a society now that is very accepting of substance use. Let me touch on alcohol a little bit. Every single activity you have, there's alcohol. Your baby has a christening, you drink.
Yes.
A wedding, you drink. Funeral, you drink. Harvest. We have a harvest culture, so you drink. Yes. So it's become very acceptable to use alcohol at every single occasion. And then we have marijuana, which person thinks is the best one because it's natural.
Right.
It comes from a plant, you can plant it at home, and then we have to deal with the decriminalization, and people are mixing that up with legalization. So we have developed a culture where substance use seems to be very accepted, well, at least for some. It's sort of like, the bad one. So you have the cocaine, which nobody wants because it's bad.
Yes.
And then you have the tobacco, because we have a lot of information about the negative effects of the smoking on the lungs and so forth. But then there are some that are readily accepted. And because it's readily accepted, the use is going to increase. And I think that is something that we have had to battle with, that acceptance in society when it comes to substance use.
Yes, because some time ago I was speaking with a mom, and I was telling her about these young men that were now using marijuana. And she's like, Deanne, that is a normal thing now, It's like, and the way she said it so casually, it's like, well, you just have to accept that this is what the young people want. This is what is desirable. And my question, I was really blown away with how she said it, because it had become such a customary thing for her to see, passing on the side of the roads all the time. You seeing them, and listen, these lengths.
Yes.
Listen, so she was like, this is a usual thing. So hence the reason I asked if it is that we as the citizens, if we are just slighting it as, well, it's just another thing, it's just another vice, they will get over that, they will grow that out.
And that is it, because when I grew up in Plymouth. And there was an area in Plymouth where they would always have persons smoking weed and stuff.
Yes.
And I remember my grandmother would be buffing up people on the road, like, what are you doing? Somebody's shipping it, whatever is the case. But now, we pass straight. For many different reasons. One, they might cost you.
Yeah.
You know that. And so it's sort of like, it's either way, like, okay, like she said, what are you going to do? Sometimes, it's not the best way. It's never the best way, but sometimes persons just give up because it's a battle to get the word out there. So I do understand what she's feeling, but as a society, we have to get back to not having it be accepted. Like, holistically, as a society, start from within your homes.
Yes.
Let your children and your young people know that this is not something that is accepted or something that is tolerated. That is what we have to come back to.
It brings me to the question, are there any benefits? No, we have to be real. And this program, we touch on subjects that a lot of persons don't want to address. We address the white elephant in the room, because if we don't ask the question, if we don't say it, persons will just continue pushing it under the rug, sweeping it under the rug. And we have recognized that over the years, we have been doing that. And what do we have now? We have an entire rug, it's long like a mountain,
Yes.
and we are now trying to clean up that. We are actually dealing with the repercussions of just allowing things to slide.
Yes.
You know, so my question is, because I would always ask that, is there any benefit apart from benefit for the business community? Because we know it's a
Yes.
multi-billion dollar, we
Yes.
know that, dollars and cents. But is there any benefit to the human experience?
You see, and this is something that we have had to battle with when we're going out and doing these education things. Because the reality is, and I don't know if I should say the sad reality is, a lot of persons who are using substances for a certain reason are seeing the benefit. So for example, I have had young people who would say, Miss, if I don't smoke, I go kill somebody.
Wow.
Miss, I just get real vexed. And when I get vexed, I just lash out. So instead of me lashing out and ending up in jail, I would smoke something. And so you're kind of thinking like, do I want him to end up in jail? Or do I want him to just
The
relax
lesser
and-
of the evil.
And so the unfortunate thing is that a lot of persons who are using it are seeing the benefits. There are persons who use it to deal with anger. There are persons who may be stressed out and to deal with that immediate feeling of stress, because it doesn't get rid of the stress, but that immediate feeling, they use that. There are some persons who are going through grief. Somebody died for them, and to deal with all those emotions that come with grief, they're going to be drinking. And so there's an immediate benefit. But like I tell someone, I always bring my experience when I was doing surgeries. I had to take pain medication. And yeah, it would work. The pain medication would deal with the pain. But then it would affect my liver if I stay on it too long.
Okay.
It would affect my kidneys if I stay on it too long. And so when we go, we like to talk about, because they always talk about the medication and side effects. And I always say, just like medication, which is also a substance, would have side effects. After the positive effect, which will be the pain going.
Yes.
It's the same thing with the marijuana. And are you willing to take a risk where I have this benefit, but after I have that benefit, I have to deal with those negative side effects? And I think that is what we normally have to tell them, because they could list out for you. Trust me, when you want to use something, you can find all reasons that it's good for you. And I always say, okay, fine, you manage your stress for now, but the stress is still there. What you going to do?
Yeah.
You get anger now. What if one of these days you get angry and you have no weed around to smoke? What you going to do? How are you going to manage the anger? So we always have to say, yes, there's these seemingly positive effects, but there are also those negatively side effects that come along with your substance use.
I am thinking, get into the root of the issue. Because here it is, we are talking about, okay, persons are, you're stressed out, so you know what, I'm gonna head to the bar. I just need to drink, I just need to smoke, I just need to keep calm. A young lady, she could be probably in her 30s, she's married. And she told me, she said, my husband smokes marijuana and he does that to keep calm because he has an anger issue.
Yes.
And if he doesn't do that, we have a problem. And I'm asking myself, I said, wow. So in order for me to deal with this anger, in order for me to deal with this hurt or this pain or this trauma, I have to be on this substance. But the thing about it, the problem still remains.
Yes.
So is it that we as a society, we have failed in terms of, I'm not sure, what should I say, the education?
And I think it's not so much education, but there are certain life skills that you need to learn.
Right.
How to deal with anger. Because nothing is wrong with getting angry.
Right.
It's an emotion.
It's an emotion.
How you deal with it. How do you deal with stress? Because you're going to feel stress no matter what. There's always going to be something that stresses you out.
Yes.
How do you manage your stress? There's always going to be a time where you're going to be grieving, whether it is a loss of a job, a loss of a friendship. How do you manage your grief? And I think what is happening is that a lot of persons don't have these just basic coping skills.
Right.
And because they don't have these coping skills, they go to something that's easy.
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
Yes.
We live in a world now It's a microwave mentality. We want the quick fix.
Yes.
We are having a problem at work. We want it to be fixed now. We are having a situation. Fix it now. Do it now.
Yes.
And sometimes things take a certain process.
Yes.
There is a process. So I'm hearing that we need to get back to the root cause.
Yes.
Which is possibly the home. In terms of teaching our children exactly, okay, you would have a little misunderstanding at school. How do you deal with it?
Yes.
And sit our children down and explain, okay, yes, you will feel angry, you may feel to take up a ruler and hit a child, but you can't do that.
Yes.
Maybe you could tell the teacher what is happening. Maybe you could, when you come home, you could talk to mommy and daddy and say, mommy, this child is doing this. Teach them how to deal with it.
Yes.
And we are seeing now the manifestation of failure in that area.
Yes, and I think that's something that we have sort of bypassed where substance use is concerned. We tend to look at the individual, but the substance use one affects more than the individual. And like you said, it starts from when they're young. I have 2 nieces and a nephew, and we have to teach them how to lose.
Right, yes.
And you know, it's okay to lose. You can't win all the time. And when you lose, it's not for you to throw a tantrum and carry on, because you can't win everything all the time.
Yes.
And it starts from there. How do you teach them to express their anger? We have a little thing when you say big boys will cry. What are you crying for? Big boys will cry. And then this little boy grows up to be a big man, and is sad because he's lost his family, someone has died for him, he's lost a job. And he doesn't know how to express that sadness because he was taught big boys will cry.
Yes.
And so the easiest thing for him to do is go in a bar, drink, lime, joke, and laugh, than to actually deal with that emotions and go through the stages of grief. And so we have to really start from the home.
Yes.
And that's why you have to start from when they're small, because those life skills you have to start to develop from since they're born,
of course,
right up, so that when they get to be adult age, those skills that they have learned, that they can use it.
Yes, as you said, the home, because by the time the child is 7, I mean, they have developed most of the things that they would learn. They would have already learned that at age 7. And then before that, we are sending them into the schools.
Of course.
So once we send them into the schools and they have not been taught certain principles and how to deal with certain areas in their lives, it now becomes a major problem.
Yes, it does. Or somebody teaches them.
Yeah.
So you might want to teach them something, but they're going to pick it up from some other child at school.
Yes.
And so you have to make sure that you teach your children certain things so that when they go out to school, they know what needs to happen and doesn't just pick up what somebody else is doing.
Right.
I think that's very important as well.
Very critical, because if you don't teach them, somebody else is willing to teach them, just like getting involved in a gang. You know, if you don't know your purpose, someone else will impose their purpose on you.
Yep.
And this is a problem we are having. This is definitely the problem. Well, at this time, we're going to take a short break and we will be right back. Stay with us.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center, Store Bay Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters and yes, windows. Plus a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Are you having issues with your vehicle overheating? No worries. Check out Graham's Radiator Service for sales and servicing of radiators, installation and flushing, pressure testing, gas tank recoating, and all your radiator needs. Check them out at Philadelphia Trace off the Plymouth Main Road in Marysville, Tobago, seconds from the Wim Anglican School. Call 639-1094 or 299-3097. Open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m.
NSL School and Office Supplies for all your school uniforms, textbooks, stationery, and craft supplies. Located obliquely opposite Stumpy's Bypass Canaan. Also offering printing, photocopying, and much more. Give them a call today, 615-6595-477-5905, or email them at nslbookstore@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the program Transforming Lives One at a Time. My guest, Behavioral Services Officer, Ms. Shermin Charles. Ms. Charles, well, just before the break, we went into a lot, a lot of information. We want to present it as it really is, real talk.
Yes.
Too long we have been sweeping things under the carpet, so we want real talk. Is there a high possibility that a person who uses substances can indeed be addicted and trapped? Because some persons say, well, I just use it for recreation, just a little relaxation. Yes. Let's talk about that.
And that's how it starts.
Okay. I think you need to say that again, eh?
That's how it starts.
Yes.
So, persons always have a reason why they start using. And when they start, it's always never that serious, as I would normally say. It's never that serious.
Right.
It's just a one-off. Some persons will say, it's only when I go in online.
Yes.
Or it's only when I'm feeling stressed. Or it's only when I have a hard day at work. I don't do it every day. I do it every now and then. And then you realize that every time that person has to lime, they need to take a substance.
Okay.
Every single time they have to lime, they seem to take a substance. And then they realize, well, I don't need to just take it when I go in and lime. I could take it on a regular thing. So it might start with parties.
Yeah.
And then it might be like, oh, when a friend comes over. And then it progresses. Mm-hmm. What also happens with addiction is that you're using a substance to get that feeling, that high feeling. And after continued use, what you would normally use to get that high feeling doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
So you have to either increase the amount or increase the amount of times that you're using. So you might have a student in a high school who might say, you know, I'm fine with just using one roll-on or one spliff a day. And then you realize that they need to use it before they go to school, and then they need to use it after school.
Yes.
And then you realize that child starts to carry to school because they need to use it while they're at school.
At lunchtime.
Right. So the dependence, the tolerance increases. So what could have given you that high before, it has to be more, it has to be more. And that is how addiction starts. You always have to use more or use more frequently to get the first high feeling that you would have gotten at the beginning. And so that's why we normally say it's better not to start, because all these substances are highly addictive. When you talk about nicotine in the tobacco, that's one of the most highly addictive substances. When you talk about cocaine, I mean, marijuana could keep you high for like about, say, maybe an hour if you're now starting. Cocaine will give you an amazing high, but within 30 minutes, the high is gone. And so within that 30 minutes time again, you're like, okay, I need to go again.
Right.
And so that is what happens, that is what causes persons to get addicted. So it's always, you know, it's just now and then, but then that could progress to more and more, and then you realize that you're dependent on that. You have to smoke. Some persons have to smoke before they use the bathroom.
Yes.
They have to smoke before they eat. They have to smoke before they go to work, and if they don't get a smoke before they go to work, they can't function.
Wow.
They're looking for it, and this is where the addiction comes in. So that's why you normally say, once you start, even if you're doing it recreationally or occasionally, there is a possibility that you can become addicted.
Let's talk about the clear difference. Is there a clear difference? No, not rather. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the clear difference between substance use and substance abuse.
Yes. Substance use means that you're using the substance. In most cases, you may not have a direct negative effect as well. It's not a harmful use as yet. So I would say, for example, let's use pain medication. You have your prescription. Your doctor tells you that you have to use 2 tablets 3 times a day, and you're using your 2 tablets 3 times a day. That's substance use.
Okay.
The abuse comes in when you decide, you know what, I want 3 tablets 2 times a day.
Okay.
That is when the abuse comes in, because you're using it in a way that it could be harmful for you. I always say with cigarettes, there's no use, it's always abuse, because tobacco is harmful.
Right.
There is no way that you can use tobacco and it not be harmful. It will be harmful. Yeah? So that's why most times we tend to use, instead of use substance use, we tend to use substance misuse.
Okay.
Because all substance use can be harmful. You may not have a direct harmful effect now, but it can be harmful. Yeah, so the difference is substance use doesn't really have a harmful effect, and substance abuse, it's a harmful effect.
Because of course we have legal drugs and illegal.
Yes, we do.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, Ms. Charles, you have been involved in this field, as I indicated earlier, for over 12 years, and you would be privy to certain information the average citizen would not be aware of.
Yes.
Just what are the trends related to substance abuse here in Tobago?
Okay, so the 4 main substances that are used in Tobago right now: alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, and cocaine. Alcohol is the top because, one, it's legal.
Okay.
And it is the most accepted one right now. I mean, anyone could go down into Scarborough at any time during the day, and you have 2 bars, one by Chef's, I think,
yes.
and one right after.
Yes.
And you would always see people there
All the time.
all the time. You go to your villages, the rum shops are always open, and they're always making money, because alcohol is one of those things that is very accepted. It's very accepted and it's easy to get. And that's why I normally tell parents, make sure your children don't go to Harvest by themselves.
Right.
Because you could just walk and take a drink from anybody. Nobody looking to see if it's a child or whatever.
Yes.
So we have that alcohol problem. Then we have the marijuana. In 2019, they decriminalized it. And in 2020, we had COVID.
Right.
And persons not understanding the law figured that it meant that it was legal. And then we were so taken up with all these health issues that nobody was really paying attention to what was happening with the marijuana use. And so now we have a situation where marijuana use, persons think decriminalization means legal. And so now everybody is using it because everybody can plant it at home.
Yes.
And so it's easy to get it, easy access for it. So we've seen, I wouldn't say a spike in the use because it's always been there,
yeah.
but persons are more now open
yes.
about their use, right? So we have that issue. And now in our schools, we have this vaping issue.
Yeah.
Where persons think that it's healthier than smoking cigarettes. Because we all know the negative effects of cigarettes. It's
yes.
all over. But vaping seems like the cool thing. And, you know, it looks good for you to have that, and it has these flavors for the nicotine, and then persons are using the cannabis oil
right.
with the vape pens. And so we have that situation in the school. Because it's easy to smuggle in vape pens, because
yeah.
you could have it looking like a regular pen, like anything. So we have that issue as well. And I want to go back to the marijuana. We realize a lot of young girls are using edibles now.
Yeah.
So the boys are smoking, the girls, because you know, when we see a woman smoking, we screw up our face.
Yeah.
When we see a man smoking, it's like, whatever.
Of course.
So now they're putting it in brownies and cookies and candies and gummies, and so we have that.
So you're still ingesting.
You're still ingesting it. And then unfortunately, we have these different pills. We knew they had this Zessa pill era, and persons are bringing in ecstasy,
yes.
and persons are finding these legal prescription medication, and they realize, listen, if I take this pain medication, I can get a high. So they're using that
wow.
as well. So we have all these issues going on in Tobago. But I think what is the most dangerous trend is that our children are using at a younger age.
Yeah, I was to bring that up because yes. The age is just getting younger and younger. And what I have recognized, I see a lot more females actually smoking now.
Yes.
Because long time, you know, you would see the guys and you'll be like, okay, guys always smoke. But now it's troubling.
Yes.
It's troubling. I don't know how others feel about it. I really don't. But for me, it is troubling. And not just the women. You know. It is troubling generally for me.
Yes.
As an individual, it is troubling for me.
And that is why I spoke about the acceptance. Because when you have a child in primary school.
Yeah.
And you know, we always used to target the secondary schools, right? Because you
figure
that's
have
where
to start. Yes,
you have to start at preschool. You
that's
have a preschool
right.
program,
yes.
primary school, and what happens is daddy is using, mommy is using, uncle is using. I'm living in an area where everybody is using,
yeah.
So it becomes a rite of passage, for want of a better word. And so you'll have a parent that may come and say, "I want to send my son for counseling for using." He's using as well, but he's like, I'm a big man.
Yeah.
He's not supposed to be using.
Right. Do as I say, but not as I do.
Right. And so that's what we realize. And that's why when we spoke first, earlier, we said that it's accepted. Because it becomes so accepted now, everybody thinks that they can use it. The law enforcement has a lot of work to do because for them to have to monitor everybody's child when it comes to these things.
So my question is, where are the parents? No, because we all have a responsibility. The law enforcement has a responsibility. Your division has a responsibility. The parents has a responsibility. The church has a responsibility. The community activists, police youth club and the community councils have a responsibility as well. And it all comes back to a village.
Yes.
Raising a child, and someone asks, you really want the kind of village that we have now to raise your child because all of them will be smoking weed?
Yes, I think that, and that is so important because take for example, we see the children at school. So we have a school program.
Yes.
We go in, say, for 5 weeks, we have them 1 hour per week. But when they go home, what happens at home?
Yeah.
When they pass to go home, what happens along the streets? When they go down to get something by a tuck shop, what happens on their way?
Wow.
So it has to be, like you said, it has to be a collective thing because we have a tendency to always blame police.
Yeah.
Police need to go and do this, police need to go and do that. But then we have to start from the core. Why is your child using?
Yes.
What is happening within that home space? And I'm not just talking about the physical house, but your home involves your community, your extended family members, a cousin who may not even be living there but comes and visits every now and then. What is happening there? So that is one of the most troubling trends we have right now. And I want to talk about the women that are smoking. A lot of, not just smoking, but smoking and drinking.
Yeah.
When you walk by the bar and you see the amount of women that are sitting on the road line with these men, you have to realize what is happening there. A lot of women are using because of what is happening in their homes. I mean, being a mother and a parent is stressful.
Yes.
Generally. I'm not one. But I see it from my sisters, my sister-in-law and so forth. And imagine you have to do that, but you have other issues going on. Whether you and the father of the children not getting along, whether sometimes you're living in a home environment that is just toxic. And so you realize a lot of these women now are going to alcohol, are going to tobacco, and even more so, a lot of them are going to the marijuana. So it's really have to go to the root cause to try to fix the problem.
But as you're talking, I'm thinking about this situation because, okay, someone is overwhelmed, someone is stressed out, maybe they can't pay their bills, but you're going to purchase marijuana. It is actually compounding the situation because now the money that you would spend on getting this alcohol, and we know alcohol is not cheap.
No.
and the cigarettes and the marijuana, when you look at it, is it that this is really a stress reliever? or it's making matters worse?
That's why I always say it's a short term.
Short term.
I remember a young lady told me that her bill was $1,000 and $100 wasn't going to do anything for the bill, so she just went and drank.
Right. She didn't think that if she has 100, she only needs 9 more.
That only doing a little thing.
Yeah.
So I just went and drink. Again, coping skills.
Yeah.
And I always say, it may deal with the stress at that point in time, the stress you're feeling,
Yeah.
but it doesn't deal with what exactly is stressing you out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we don't want to deal with what is stressing us out,
True.
because it's a lot. Because when you think about, you have a bill, $1,000 bill, and they're going and cut your lights.
Yeah.
And you had to think about how you're going to get that done. It's better I just drink and forget it, and when the lights cut, the lights cut.
But I don't want it to sound to our viewers that we are downplaying the stresses of life and how persons can be distressed, they can be overwhelmed, because we understand, we know that there's real situations out there, real problems out there. We could think about the single mothers, we could think about the single fathers, the only breadwinner of the home, and you have 2 and 3 children, and you are thinking when someone else is probably just relaxing at the beach, you are thinking school for them tomorrow, what am I putting in their lunch bags? How am I dealing with this? Maybe I may not have a good relationship with my extended family members. I don't have the support system. So I'm saying that we have people that have real needs, and we have to be more empathetic. To me, it's like every 2 or 3 programs I come on, I have to remind us. Because we have to care more.
I remember when I first started, I had a bias against substance users, because I'm like, come on.
You see the results.
Really, come on. And then when you hear the stories, I remember I told a colleague, a friend of mine, I said, if I was in some of these person situations, I might have been using as well. So I would always say, like, I understand. Like, I could understand, because I always say the biggest stress I had was when my father was sick, just before he died. Like, to me, that was a major stress for me. And I used to drink alcohol to sort of forget that he was sick and whatever. And this was just alcohol. And when you listen to their stories, it's nothing compared. Who has been abused, who is currently in domestic violence situations, who has trauma, has lost parents, have been going from home to home from when they were younger. And you could fully understand. And that's why I said, like you said it, we have to be empathetic. And when you're dealing with these things, you have to show empathy, because judging is not necessary. And it's not warranted in situations like that. Because you have to understand why they're using and help them to deal with whatever situation that is causing them to use. I think this is a call, because as I said when I started the program, without apology, we are in a crisis. Yes, we are.
And it means that whatever we have been doing, yes, some of the things may have been working, but we have to find ways for things to be more effective, for more lives to be transformed, for more lives to be touched. Because if it is that we are going down this kind of road, it's a whole generation we're gonna lose. And we just can't sit idly by and say, okay, well, yeah, those boys, leave those guys on the street, they're just smoking marijuana, leave them, let them drink a whole bucket of alcohol. How do they take care of their families? How do they, you understand?
And I love how you said that we're going to lose a generation, because what we realize is a lot of these persons who are using substances, their father would have used it, and then their father's father would have used it. So the generation have learned to deal with situations by using substances. And so that's why we have to really start to care more. I mean, I could understand not wanting to have to deal with somebody who is using, because you're afraid you might be cursed out. They might tell you what they have to tell you, but we have to care a little bit more. And I really applaud some of these police youth clubs that are really working hard in these areas that have a situation with drugs. And like I told somebody, it seems as though every village now has a situation with drugs.
Yeah.
These NGOs that continue to work.
Yes.
And, you know, we really have to applaud them for putting in that work, because, I mean, if we give up,
Of
then
course.
the generation coming will be worse than what it is now.
Yes.
And worse and worse and worse and worse.
Definitely.
And they are the ones who have to take care of us when we get older.
Of
so we have to
course.
think about it in that way as well.
Well, at this time, I would like to just take the opportunity to applaud, to commend, and to encourage all these NGOs, you know, that have been working tirelessly.
Yes.
So many groups, the private sector, so many individuals and organizations that have been working assiduously as we continue to treat with this issue of substance abuse. So many lives that have been transformed. Yes. I want to encourage you to continue. Whatever you're doing, don't stop. Don't be discouraged. Continue doing what you're doing, because in your own neck of the woods, you are living out this program, which is transforming lives one at a time. We're going to take a short break and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
If you're wondering where to find top-tier quality tiles and products to refurbish or renovate your wall, floor or pool, well, your worry is over. Come to D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center, Storebay Local Road, opposite the Bonnecourt Primary School, Tobago, where you will find porcelain, mosaic and ceramic tiles of the highest quality guaranteed. D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center also stocks thinset, grout, tile cutters and yes, windows. Plus a friendly smile and service that's second to none awaits you. So forget the hassle and get all the quality tiles you need right here in Tobago at D-Cells Tile and Ceiling Center. Call us today at 460-8802, 639-8281. Opens Monday to Saturday from 9 a.m.
Are you having issues with your vehicle overheating? No worries. Check out Graham's Radiator Service for sales and servicing of radiators, installation and flushing, pressure testing, gas tank recoating, and all your radiator needs. Check them out at Philadelphia Trace off the Plymouth Main Road in Marys Hill, Tobago, seconds from the Wim Anglican School. Call 639-1094 or 299-3097. Open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m.
NSL School and Office Supplies for all your school uniforms, textbooks, stationery and craft supplies. Located obliquely opposite Stumpy's Bypass, Canaan. Also offering printing, photocopying and much more. Give them a call today, 615-6595-477-5905 or email them at nslbookstore@gmail.com.
Welcome back to the program. We are talking about substance abuse and the many effects that it has on society at large. Ms. Charles, based on the National Drug Policy of Trinidad and Tobago 2021, it seeks to address the complex issue of drug control through a balanced and multi-pronged approach, which of course prioritizes the safety of citizens. Yes. In light of this policy, do you think we have been doing enough as it relates to our educational drive, or is there room for more to be done, especially from the preschool and the primary school levels?
So there's always more to be done. I always feel as though we're never doing enough. But I do like that you brought up from the preschool and primary school levels. Yes. So I know that the National Drug Council and the National Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Program would have created a preschool curriculum. Okay. It's called the Trinity Smart Initiatives, and it deals directly with substance use for preschool age students. So I know currently the division is in a process of planning a training program where we train the teachers to deliver that curriculum and also give them the resources to do that. So there's a storybook, there are puppets, there are videos, and so forth. So that is something that we have started. The primary school level, I think we can do more. We would normally go in and deal with the Standard 5 students after the SCA exam. We will normally go in and deal with the Standard 5 students to sort of give them that information when it comes to substance use. But we realize that by that age, they are already exposed. Yeah. They may not be using, but they're already exposed. Yes. So what we have decided to do, and we're still in the process of planning, but from the next school term, we want to really do a regular program in the primary schools. So we're going to deal with either the standard 1 or the standard 2 students and have this be an ongoing regular program where we're educating them about the effects of drugs. That's what we want to do. Right. I know that in the secondary schools, the student support services are doing a lot. You know, there's always a need for more human resources in these units. But I know that they are doing a lot when it comes to the substance use aspect of it and the education aspect of it. But I think what we need to really focus on is the community education aspect. Okay. Because like I said, we educate the students, but when they go home, when they go into their villages, what do they know? And so I think what we really need to focus on is really getting the community involved in this education thing. I mean, it's only 3 of us at our unit right now. So what we normally do is that we will do what you call training of trainers. Yes. So you equip those community leaders with the education, the knowledge and the skills that they need to really go out and educate these persons. But I know a lot of the community groups, the police youth clubs would reach out and say, you know what, come in and do a session with me. Right, okay. Come in and do a session with our club members and so forth. So there's always room for improvement where the education is concerned, but we always like to let community leaders know that we are here and we are available whenever you need us, to just call us. But there's always a need to do more where the education is concerned.
What about volunteers? Because I know Trinidad and Tobago, unlike many other countries of the world, they delve in a lot on volunteerism. And I'm thinking that something like this, if we can have persons, because sometimes we have a lot of at home, persons at home, and I'm sure there is something you can give for 2 hours. Is there room to activate volunteers to be a part of this, and how can we make this happen?
And you see, I like that idea, because I'm being honest, that is not something that I would have thought about, because you normally will just go to already established clubs. Yes. But it could be that we could have a registry where persons who are willing to volunteer to go and do this education, you come, you get the training, you get the resources, you get the support needed to do that. So that is something that we could really look into, because we normally target the volunteers with the already established groups. Right. The youth clubs, the dance clubs, the sports clubs, and so forth. But if there are persons outside of those who really like to volunteer, then yes, we'll be willing to train them and have them go out and deliver the education when it comes to substance use prevention.
Right. Well, maybe this is one of the ideas you could take back to the office today.
Yes, I am going to take it back.
And that is something I would be interested in. Yes. In doing that training. So, because where I am, I meet young people all the time. Yes. Well, persons of all ages, but I interact with a lot of young people, a lot of young men, especially many times those young men on the side of the street and they smoking, and so I would always stop and have a conversation. Yes. You know, and my heart is there because I want to see people's lives touched. I want to see people's lives transformed. It's my heart. And it is troubling to me that so many persons are going down a slippery road, and I know what is out there. Yes. And we are trying to help them avoid certain pitfalls. So wherever, and I'm making a call, maybe I'm looking right into the camera. Maybe you might have some extra time and you might say, well, I'm so busy. I am sure you could give, even if it's 2 hours. Yes. And you come, you get the kind of training, and then you are able to now impact lives. You are able now to share that information, share it with maybe your youth group. I'm even calling on the churches. Yes, please. Maybe we can have some of the churches send a representative and we do a big training. And have persons come in, even some of the community councils, the police youth clubs. I'm calling on you. I'm calling on the private sector, because someone shared something with me recently. They said that we are actually looking for good employees. But if we are not investing in the younger ones now.
That's true.
And inculcating the kind of values we want to put in them now, when they come to work for us,
Yes.
we have problems. So
Mm-hmm.
why not do it now?
Yes.
Prevention is always better than a cure. Eh?
Correct.
So I am calling on you. Yes, the conversation is very, very interesting. And staying in this vein, what are the signs of addiction that we can look for in an individual?
The first thing is that there will be changes. What they might be interested in before, they're no longer interested in. So they might be interested in going out online, playing football, going to the movies. They no longer have that interest. Some persons tend to withdraw from the social environment.
Yeah.
So they will normally come to family events, they will normally come to beach limes. They prefer not to do that anymore. For persons who are working, they may be missing work. They're making a lot more mistakes at their job. For children who are going to school, you realize that they're not doing well in school anymore. They might be playing football or in athletics, they're not performing well there anymore. Those are some of the signs that you can look for. You also have situations where a person changes their mood, their character changes. So you know this person to be a very calm person, and then you realize that in tutus, they're getting vexed for no reason, they're getting agitated, they're having these major mood swings. Those are some of the things. Another thing is that they just never have money.
Okay.
And that's simply because all the money is going towards the substance or the drug. We have persons who might try to steal from you because they want to get those things. Those are some of the signs you can look for. Another thing is that they just look unkempt.
Yes.
Because their focus is just on getting that substance, so they don't care how they look, how they smell, or anything like that. And those are some of the things that you have to look out for. Yeah, so there are some physical changes that you can see, and there are some, character changes, some personality changes that you have to look for as well. I know one lady said that the son that she remembered is not the son who is presented before her right now.
Okay.
She said that is not who she raised, that's not who she knows. And that's because the personality switched up.
Yeah.
Kind and loving son, cussing his mother, doing whatever he wants, coming in and out of the house, stealing from her, those kinds of things. So those are the things that you can look for where addiction is concerned.
As you spoke about that, it's just such a heart-wrenching thing. And I could imagine just working within that division where you actually seeing firsthand the effects that substance abuse has on the average person. And later on, probably in our next program, we're going to talk about the effects socially, emotionally, financially, and of course the effects it will have on your extended family and your direct family. So when we look at the overall picture, no benefits.
None. And I always say addiction looks like this is a person who can't help themselves. Because all their mind is on the substance.
Yeah.
And they don't care about anybody but that. They don't even care about themselves. That's how bad it is. And so it's heart-wrenching. And when you look at it from the aspect of parents who have to come in and try to get help for their children, a spouse who has to come in and try to get help for their spouse, a child who has to come in and try to get help for their parents. And then one of those things is that because counseling and therapy is voluntary. And when that person doesn't think they have a problem, they're not coming nowhere. So that family member just has to sit and wait. And sometimes, unfortunately, you have to wait until something major happens, a major illness. They end up in hospital, they end up in accident, they end up in a fight, they end up being assaulted, for them to come to realization that something is wrong. And like you said, it's a heart-wrenching thing, because I remember a mother said she feels like it's a waiting game. She's just waiting for bad news. because she's tried so much and nothing is happening. She's just waiting for bad news.
Wow. People need help.
Yes.
People need intervention. And for many persons, they need a divine intervention as well. We have to put God in that equation, because
I always tell persons, once you believe in God, make sure and have and pray and pray. There's a mother, she raised her child in church, beautiful daughter, and she got involved in a relationship with a guy who was a user, and she ended up, and I said to her, I said, you've done everything. I said, at this point in time, you need to start to pray.
Yeah.
And so I always say, for those persons who have that belief in God and belief in prayer, put that at the forefront as well.
Definitely. Well, we are coming to almost to the end of the program, but I want us to chat a little bit about the alcohol and drug abuse prevention program.
Yes.
And how this program has been making inroads to deal with this crisis. And of course, we'd always hear that an ounce of prevention, we know. I'm trying to remember if it's better than a pound of cure. But whatever it is, better than a pound of cure. I'm going to put a pound. Don't chastise me. I'm not sure of the exact saying. All right. In other words, it is always better to prevent a crisis than treat with one. Let's talk about that.
So the Alcohol and Drug Abuse Prevention Program is a unit under the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. And their focus is drug demand reduction, which includes prevention. So what we do is educate. As I would have stated, we are looking to train the preschool teachers to have it at that level. We're starting with the primary school program that we want to get off in September. And then we also have the high school program. So we will normally link with the Learning and Enrichment Center.
Okay.
So that is the unit that deals with those children who are on suspension. So we normally go there every week to do that intervention. We would have had a Project Alert program we did at the high schools, but that had to come to a halt since COVID-19, and then we haven't been able to bring it back up as well.
Okay.
But we do have linkages in all the schools if they need that intervention that we can go in. We also work with the community policing unit. I know they would have done an intervention at Payside High School recently, and we were there as well offering that support. So the unit is there. We are small, but we are mighty, and we are available if you can send a request. You need us to come at this point in time. Even if we can't come on that date, we'll come, we'll work with you on which time is best available for you. So we are out there doing the prevention and getting the word out there about the negative effects of substance use.
Do you have like a website that persons can go to in terms of family needing support, some of the schools, some of the community councils, and they may probably notice a trend and say, this is more than me. I need some help.
Right, so we don't have a website, but we do have a number. It's 487-6665. That's actually my work cell phone number, 487-6665. And once you realize that you need some additional help, some intervention, you can just call or WhatsApp, and we can set up a date and time when that can be done.
All right. Well, I want to talk about one more thing before we wrap up the program, as it relates to, well, we would have touched on it a bit in terms of different stakeholders coming on board to be a part of the solution. How can that happen? That cohesion. That's
luckily ADAP has worked with a lot of stakeholders in the past. Student support is one of our stakeholders. We have the Changing Lanes program. They are the ones that usually deal with the NE and EA groups that are happening on the islands. Some police youth clubs. We also have linkages with the TTPS. So it's just to make contact and network. We don't know everybody. I mean, we try to know everybody in the island, but we don't know everybody. So if it's that you're one of those persons who are interested in prevention, you can also make contact with me. because we normally use our stakeholders we have a symposium we do for the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. That's in June. We normally use stakeholders for Clean Air Fair, which is in May. And we also have our camp, which is in July to August. So we normally say, if you're interested in being a part, you can reach out and we can continue to work together to ensure that, we push this drug prevention in Tobago.
Of course. Well, I want to commend you and congratulate you. I want to thank you on behalf of Tobago, of course, by extension, Trinidad and the rest of the world, for the work that the team has been doing in terms of transforming lives, in terms of changing lives, in terms of making an impact into the lives of our friends and our loved ones and family members. And I know that you will continue doing that because I could hear the passion in your voice.
Thank you.
This is your heart. You want to help. You want to be there. So again, keep up the good work, and we're going to have part 2. We're going to definitely have part 2.
Thank you so much.
So thanks again, once again, Miss Shermin Charles, and she's a Behavioral Services Officer at the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection. Well, this is where we wrap up the program for today. It has been an honor being your host, Deanne, as usual, here with you all the time, bringing the real issues that affects us as a society. We want to see solutions. We want to see changes. We want to see lives being transformed. And I'd like you to join us next week, Saturday, for part 2 of substance abuse with our guest, Miss Shermin Charles. Okay, as usual, I leave you with the definition of transformation, which is an internal shift that brings us into alignment with our fullest potential. Hey, we've got this. See you next time.